What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is May 24th of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, we've got a wide range of topics to discuss, from talking about crypto markets, which continue to shock the disbelievers, to a variety of different pieces of news in the crypto space, as well as taking a look at the price action in equity and commodity markets. So we've got lots to discuss. Let's not push it off any longer right after our quick sponsor.
With Paxful, a world of financial opportunities awaits you through Bitcoin. As one of the leading peer-to-peer Bitcoin marketplaces, buying and selling Bitcoin is made easy with over 300 payment methods to choose from. Create your very own Paxful account today. For more information, head on over to paxful.com.
Alright, everyone, so taking a look across the board on price action for cryptocurrencies, it's becoming very clear over the last few days and really over the last week that Bitcoin will not be the only lead in this market. There's finally some risk taking coming in. Over the last 24 hours, most altcoins have outpaced Bitcoin, and only a few altcoins, half of them being really stable coins, are in the red territory at the moment. So again, when you start to see this kind of divergence where altcoins are moving up, you're seeing stable coins, which are supposed to hold this stable peg quite well, going down half a percentage to a percentage point. That's when you know risk taking is coming into the play. Not to mention, as we talked about, this has become more and more clear over the last week. We've started to see altcoins entering in double-digit gains territories. This is really good to see. Again, continuing this increase in price action, and now finally starting to kind of claw back at some of the Bitcoin comparative that we had seen lost as Bitcoin was continuing to rally and altcoins were left behind. So in that sense, we're seeing the Bitcoin pair increase for altcoins as well. And that's a good sign for risk taking, that people believe that it's time to start paying a premium on some of these coins and stuff after the 85-90% retracement that we've seen, if not more, on a lot of these plays. Now, going on here to take a look at Bitcoin specifically, a lot of people, have been kind of shooken on, like, where's Bitcoin going now? The other day it was looking, we talked about a potential for Bitcoin to break above 8,400, and with that, having a close above 8,400, going towards 10,000. And many people as well saw the price action that was going on yesterday and the day before, and it looked like we could have possibly breaking through and had our retracement back down to 1,600. Sorry, I accidentally hit my desk there. But going on, it's very plausible that both sides could happen, guys. That's why, for example, as a trader, for my short-term positions, I don't try to jump the gun and try to call things before I get to my strike zones. My zones in this case that I'm watching for, would be somewhere between 82 to 8,400 was where I would get bullish and start to maybe take some risk. 8,400 being really the final spot where I'd actually, enter in if we got a close above 8,400. And then also if we had a close below this general line of support. So it's a little bit of a rough wedge, but if you take a look here at the hourly, you can see that we have a general line of support here, as well as a line of resistance that's been holding Bitcoin's price down. Now, at the moment, we saw that we got clear support here. We almost the double bottom here in the line of support and continued higher. And even though the volume hasn't been crazy, it's been nice and steady and distributed over time, and the price has slowly grinded up to around the 8,000 mark. However, as we've started to get out of this range, very similar to what we saw over here, we're not seeing a pop out, right? There's been no serious rally as of yet. Now, what could be happening is right now, what it looks like, it might be that we're retracing back down to see if we can make it support before we have an upward rally. And if this holds over the next few hours, guys, I would definitely consider starting to take a little bit of risk, starting to build my position, and then have a stop in mind. I wouldn't want to set one on the exchanges, because for me personally, I'm getting a little bit worried about all the stop hunting that's been going on, and we've seen that as the markets have moved a little bit higher. It's getting a little bit more difficult for them to do, but again, even though there's an increase in liquidity and stuff, they can still do that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely, I have it in mind, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the price if I do enter any short-term positions, because if this does actually start to make move, this is going to be within a matter of 2 to 3 days, guys, going to 10K. It's going to be very short-lived, and I can explain why I believe that. It's because now that we've gotten down to the RSI area, this has some room to really move up. And not to mention, what I'm watching for is for volume to break out of this kind of descending trend that we've seen. We've seen declining volume over the last week, 2 weeks. And because of that, I'm just waiting for simply a breakout above that. I'm waiting for a breakout above, again, 8,200, 8,400. Really would like to see 8,400 before I take any serious risk. And close above there. And then, you've got to continue the parabolic trend here if price is going to obviously make it up to 10K. It's just, I really don't see this going at a slow, steady pace. You've been building up to this parabolic movement where within this weekly candle that started on May 20th, by the 27th, I think in this case, you're going to want to see this come up to 10,000. It's a lot of price action to take on. But again, it's not like we haven't seen it before, right? So again, that's my kind of thought process on it. I'd like to know what you guys think about it. Even if you agree or disagree, leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Again, I just want to see a good established close above this line of resistance here before I start to take that risk. But there's some good reward potential there, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my stop rising as I go, because I really don't want to get stuck, buying something up here at 9,000 and 9,500 or something or it going up to 9,500, potentially having some profits on paper and then it collapsing back down very quickly. So I'm going to have that stop rising and stuff because I think the momentum is going to be strong and just, a lot of FOMO buying will come in. And then after that, as you all know, my retracement level is somewhere around 6,000 to 6,400. That's where I'm going to be adding into my positions. You guys can do whatever you'd like. Some of you might be more conservative, think it's going down to 5,500, things like that, whatever. I'm going to be, looking around that area. And even if I buy a little bit of a premium, I want to know I can at least get my position as it dips. So anyways, going on to take a look at a few altcoins. Again, most of the altcoins right now in the USD are showing the exact same pattern or just basically showing a pattern that's very similar, that the risk taking is increasing. And as you can see here, we got a similar wedge here for Ethereum. Taking a look at the hourly, again, these ranges of support and resistance. We've had two tops, two bottoms, which are, again, coiling in and looking like we might have a breakout one way or the other. So again, just watch for a significant close on the hourly above or below these two different red lines, guys. It's not that complicated. Same goes here as well for XRP. XRP right now, with the recent launch on Coinbase, has got me very interested. I want to take a look at the daily. The one thing I like here is that we're making support on previous resistance here from back in April on the USD chart. Not to mention as well on the hourly, this simply just looks nice. We've got a double bottom here at 36 cents, and it's starting to curve back up. If we got to close above 40%, I think this is where I could start to feel comfortable taking some risk up to around 48 cents. Might even go up to 50 cents if Ethereum starts to close up to higher levels and we start to see altcoin dominance gain. But again, that would be my entry in that case, around the 40 to 41 cent area for XRP. So going on, we've taken a look at some of the altcoins, guys. That was actually one thing I want to take. I apologize, guys. I almost forgot. I wanted to show you guys on Binance, interestingly enough, with XRP. You can take a look at pretty much any exchange so long as it has the price action. You can see here that we had a very similar set of XRP BTC price action where we had the same stop or basically support level here for XRP and the same resistance level. And after a few weeks of decline here going through August and September, this is when we had a really strong rally. So we might see, again, if Bitcoin starts to cool off at around 8,000, this range we're at right now, we don't get the breakout to 10,000. That's completely fine. I think altcoins will continue to decline as well. Obviously, if Bitcoin's going to start moving out, if liquidity is moving out of Bitcoin, it's going to hit altcoins as well. If it's a severe sell-off in Bitcoin, right, like people are exiting out of the market, this will lead XRP and other players to start declining. And then once we get down to that range around 4,000 sats, I might be a little less greedy, get a little bit earlier and stuff. I think when we get a breakout above this green line, we could really start to see momentum kick in, and we could see a similar rally to what we saw before. So that's one play I'm watching at the moment. I'll maybe talk about that more in depth when we do our altcoin video. But again, I'm going to be looking for more smaller cap plays on most of my altcoin picks. All right, so we've done enough on price action, guys. Rambled on enough. So Facebook is set out to roll out its global coin, or the Facebook coin that everyone has been hearing about, the infamous Facebook coin, in early 2020. So will this transform the cryptocurrency industry? Will this add, more positives or more negatives? Well, as we talked about, guys, this is not so much a cryptocurrency. I think this is just kind of some buzz. I think they're labeling it as a cryptocurrency because it will appear as if it's a cryptocurrency, not to mention, guys, let's be fair. We've seen, I think many of you out there have probably seen, like myself, a lot of the crazy blockchain. We're working with blockchain or experimenting with blockchain technology or creating cryptocurrencies, or we're going to rebrand our company or name with the term blockchain in it. Long Island Tea changed their name to Long Island Blockchain, and you can probably guess the SEC was up on their tail because it did lead their price to move quite parabolic and to move, opposite of the fundamentals. And I guess Facebook's just pulling this in a more professional tone, in my opinion. I think that what they're really aiming to do is to simply tackle what we pay, Alipay and WeChat cover in China for the broader world. They want to basically be a payments processor. And I think that that's cool. I mean, all the best to them. But honestly, I really, as someone in the crypto space, would never use a Facebook coin, just personally. And again, it's on legacy infrastructure. Unless it's going to be moving much faster or move around that system, I honestly don't really have much eagerness to use a Facebook coin comparative to using my traditional banks, right? So again, you guys can read through the article. There's some interesting pieces here. It'll be interesting to see this launch, really in the next, in about 6 months or so. It's not too far away. So if we see this in quarter one, actually it'll be a little bit longer than 6 months, 6 to 9 months. But if this comes out in Q1 of 2020, this could bring a lot of positive reception in the sense of people getting used in the Western part of the world to QR codes and using a lot of the infrastructure that we use for cryptocurrencies, getting used to crypto wallets. But again, it's not going to be a cryptocurrency, in my opinion. So just something to keep in mind. Now, another thing as well that we hinted at about, I think it was all the way back like 2 or 3 months ago, there was some hints that Binance was going to be leading into margin trading. As we've seen, that's been the big buzz with BitMEX over the last year. People have been going on to margin trading. Personally, I can't advocate you guys to do anything or give you all financial advice. I can tell you all personally, I don't mess with margin trading. Maybe in Forex markets, not in crypto, because crypto doesn't need margin, in my opinion. I mean, you can do, like, for example, when crypto is entered into a clear uptrend, right? If you want to enter like towards like the capitulation phases in crypto, when you're reading like oversold on the RSI and you want to enter into like maybe a 2 or 3x margin, okay, maybe, but it's like trying to trade on daily daily candles or in very short-term swing trades with margin on an already volatile market, it's too much of a mess. That being said, guys, as much as I'm saying that, when we're talking about BNB in this case, we've seen BNB as nothing but irrational in some cases. And if there is talks of Binance bringing margin trading, this is going to bring more liquidity and more demand for BNB. Plain and simple, right? No matter how good or bad this will be for retail investors, Binance is trying to push the envelope. They're trying to do what they want for their customers. Again, whether or not it's good for them or not. So this is something that, again, a lot of people are very interested in. I'm keeping an eye on this as we go towards taking a look at BNB. I'll do some price analysis here real quick. Take a look at Binance. It has continued to push to all-time highs as a reason we broke past the resistance at $25 that had been holding it down previously in the last cycle back in January of 2018. And this thing has just ever since then gone parabolic USD. Now, and it's Bitcoin comparative. That's one thing to take into account. Obviously, Bitcoin has been moving. BNB, BTC has looked like it's forming almost what would be seen. I wouldn't call this a head and shoulders because the support range was not similar to where it was back here in April. Usually you want to see, again, a rise in price, a correction, setting of new highs, correction back down to a similar range, rise back up to the previous shoulder, and then sell off. But man, guys, I got to tell you, where there's a lot of altcoins that are cheap in this market, I'm really feeling like playing with some of the cheaper altcoins here that are, comparative to Bitcoin. And there's a lot of momentum plays that I'm interested in right now. So BNB, not really on my radar. Not to mention it's coming close back to being overbought after having a really nice dip comparative to Bitcoin. This was an area that you'd want to pick up because, again, it came very close to our support line here that we've been watching, which was previous resistance. Obviously made support here. So the periods to buy BNB are when you get nice discounts because this is a momentum play. But I'm not messing with it at these levels because even if there's margin trading, okay? So with BNB token being at $34, it's crazy. All right. So going on to talk about Ethereum 2.0, this is something we've talked about as well for a while with Casper coming around the corner. Ethereum having proof of stake as well as, a lot of the scaling solutions that are coming up for Ethereum. This is something that a lot of people have been looking forward to. So going through, I just want to talk a little bit about some kind of the technological changes and innovations. There's really 2 points to really be made about this, and I'm waiting for the day as well when we have ZK snarks implemented into Ethereum. This is going to be the privacy zero knowledge proofs solution that we could put onto Ethereum and a variety of other blockchains to make it private but still be able to see transaction amounts. The 2 things that are really going to be making Ethereum 2.0 special is its scaling solution, which is basically a version of sidechains known as and sharding known as Plasma. Now, in this case, this is going to allow Ethereum to scale 10,000 times more than it currently can handle. So tens of thousands of transactions, very exciting to see. And not to mention as well, this is going to allow everyday users to earn Ethereum over time if they own Ethereum through the proof of stake mechanism. Now, from my knowledge of Ethereum 2.0 and basically in this case Casper, which is their new proof of stake mechanism, there's still going to be a way where you can mine Ethereum. Obviously, they want to have hashing power securing the network, so you're still going to be able to mine, from my understanding. But also, this is going to give people who have a stake in Ethereum a way to earn Ethereum over time, right? From everyday users from the bottom all the way to those who are whales and have a large stake in Ethereum, right? So I think it's a hybrid of the two, from my understanding, which is pretty interesting. So I'm interested to see finally Ethereum 2.0 push this out. Not to mention, I think this could play into some excitement coming back into Ethereum and possibly giving it a chance to have a little bit of an outpace on momentum on Bitcoin again. Just like XRP, we've seen this kind of flagging after the rally we had from this buying on the bottom and stuff. And we've been seeing price action hold most of the gains compared to Bitcoin. So could this be the moment we finally start to take off, especially seeing as we retested the support range from the rally back here in December all the way into January? Might be some time for some risk taking. Alrighty, so we've taken a look at cryptocurrency news, guys. Futures right now, it's currently 821 where I'm at the moment on the East Coast. Futures right now are trading at about 0.5% in gains. This has come off of people in the news is kind of correlating it that Trump had basically talked about cool down in the situation with Huawei and the whole kind of debacle between Huawei and the United States and China, as well as Canada. It's been kind of like a Western thing versus China. If we take a look here at overall markets, this will mean this possibly get a close up and fill this gap here on most of the major indices that we saw yesterday. It was about a 1.5% decline on most indices. That being realized, guys, I don't care if we even come up to close this until we get back up above this range up here. I would say more actually on the NASDAQ until we get above 8,000. I'm not speculating on equities. I'm not going long on anything in the short term. This looks much more likely that this is going to break down eventually. Like we could pop up today and roll back over. And because I don't think it's really I know a lot of people are correlating the trade war news, the kind of tensions that are growing on a geopolitical level. Guys, I think this has a lot more to do with monetary policy. We talked about this. The market was speaking it to Powell and saying, look, if you know TA 101, I don't think Powell really cares about TA, but if you know TA 101 and you have an ascending wedge right up to a level of previous resistance, and this is on all the major indices, guys, S&P 500 right up to the same level here. Again, the ascending wedge right there. Dow Jones, take a look at this, coming up to a similar range that we've seen 2 times in the past, creating a triple top. This is a terrible market for bulls. Terrible pattern for bulls in this case. The market's been great, to be fair. It's held up towards this range for a very long time, even with the dips that it's had. That being realized, this gets very risky when you start to get down to this range of support here in the short term, and you start to break below that. You start to enter into no man's land where there's no serious support. But again, that's what I'm watching at the moment for equity markets. There's still some room to sell off here without seeing any kind of retracement back to the upside. Again, still holding an eye on those key levels. 25,200 on the Dow Jones, on the S&P 500, 2,800, and then on the NASDAQ, I'm looking for a clear break below 7,600 here. So not too far away. Again, the markets are reading up a little bit this morning. We'll see what happens. All right, going on to take a look at gold, guys. One thing I wanted to talk about, even though gold has been not interesting whatsoever in regards to its price action, I have to say it's nice to see it's still holding support on the resistance. This is what I want to continue to see. It's just not been exciting just yet. We haven't started to see a trend start to formulate. The one thing I wanted to talk about is that we're seeing the largest level of central bank buying of gold since I think 1967. I don't know why. I had an article up here. I don't know where it went. But there has literally been the highest level of buying in 2018 from central banks on gold since I think it was like 1967, 1976, something like that, in a matter of decades. Huge amounts of buying. Could we be going through a bottoming on, precious metals and, going into the next preparation for the next super cycle? Well, the central bank buying for gold in this case, and now if you guys don't know, central banks own about 20 to 25% of all gold in the world now. So do with that as you will. The major buying that's been coming in has been mainly from Russia. Russia's been stacking up its buying as it's trying to get away from its dollar dependency, meaning the US dollar. And this has been true with a lot of economies. I think you're going to continue to see this with China. As tensions do grow, gold is a hedge that a lot of governments will move to, whether it's for geopolitical reasons or also for monetary policy and worries that they won't be able to take care of their dollar-denominated debt, right? If their currency starts to enter into a bad area, again, they can start to sell their gold in the open market and start to pay down some of that dollar-denominated debt or have it as a hedge. So, again, I'm still watching gold. Gold, even though I think Bitcoin is going to become the new store of value, I think it is going to be the preferred choice over the next decade or two. It's going to take time. In the short term, gold still holds a very important position. And with the chart pattern that we've seen, guys, I think it's signaling quite clearly that it's ready to start making a move over the next few months. But over the next few months, am I eager to make a position today? Not yet. I want to see the trend start to formulate. I want to see it retest up past this level of resistance at 1350, which has been holding down gold's price 4 to 5 times here in the last few years. And once we get a clear close above there, we've gotten out of this wedge, this long-term wedge that gold's been in, I think we could see a rally. And the same will go for silver as well. Not much TA needed, guys. I think you know exactly what we've talked about before. This will eventually break out of here, and that's when we start to get the parabolic price action, in my opinion. So that's it for the video, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. What do you all think about all the things we discussed? I'd love to know down in the comments down below. But until the next video, guys, I'll see you all soon. I'm going to try to get around to making my video on altcoins for either tomorrow or on Sunday. Might be busy tomorrow, but I'll try to get it out for you guys as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit that bell icon if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, and I always appreciate your support as always if you guys can give me a like. So with that being said, hope you all are having a fantastic day and have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.